Rivers of London is such a great title. How did you come up with it?
Ha! You never fail to bring that up every single time. We're not talking about you today.
Yes, folks, I came up with the title Rivers of London, but Ben wrote the books, all the books. But when he wanted to write the comics, he asked me to help him write the comics. And now we've asked some other talented people to help us write the comics.
We wanted to expand it a bit because the thing
Don't
about
pretend we were just too lazy. We just thought get other people on.
Slightly lazy, but
no, that's true. You did want to expand and sort of enrich and diversify it. It's true. You did say that, yeah.
Well, because comics is intrinsically a collaborative art form anyway. So it's not like I was asking somebody else to write the novels. I was asking somebody else to do something that they were good at, and they would bring something that I couldn't bring to it. And we decided, and so we had Celeste Bronfman for the last one. He brought a kind of fairy tale kind of sensibility to it.
She did something so totally different from what we would have done. And the terrible thing is Titan loved it so much. They loved it better than they loved us.
and my next thought was like, what I want is some action. And so that naturally led me on to James, because James.
In fairness, you've been talking about getting Jim Swallow, James, to write a comic almost as long as we've been writing the comics.
Yeah, because he's exciting and he's good, and I've always wanted to, I wanted to see what, given what Celeste did with the last one, I wanted to see what James would do with it, because there's no point getting someone like James Swallow in and then kind of telling them what to do. You have to get them in and you have to give them their head, and I think it's going to be brilliant. I mean, we know the pricing, we're not going to spoil it, but we know the kind of ins and outs. So I'm going to hand over to James. James, what is it really about?
Well, what's it called, James, for a start?
I can't tell you. I'll tiptoe around what it's about. But the title of the new series we're working on is called Here Be Dragons, which, dovetails nicely with an urban fantasy setting, I think. But in terms of what it's about, well, I got a few ideas that were churning around in my head for quite a while that I thought might make interesting things to kind of glue together and put into the Rivers of London world. One of them, I wanted to do something with a police helicopter, just because I'm a huge aviation nerd, and I think that's kind of cool.
Are you a fan of Blue Thunder?
Absolutely. And, I'm a fan of many sort of like helicopter-based drama shows. And so, that was something that interested me. I came across, completely unconnected to this, I came across this amazing urban legend about the parakeets in London. If you've ever been to London, you'll have seen the green parakeets.
I've got parakeets in my garden. They were here a little earlier at the bird feeder.
And there's an urban legend that says that the person responsible for releasing them into the wild in London was none other than Jimi Hendrix. And I'm a huge fan of Jimi Hendrix's music. And I like the idea of that. That felt like a very London-y sort of thing. It felt like a kind of edgy, liminal urban fantasy kind of thing. And I started to play around with that idea. And another thing about London that is I'm a huge fan of is I love the skyscrapers, and I love the buildings, the tall buildings we have in London. One of my favorites is Centre Point. And that's a building, that's a monument in London that has a lot of interesting history. So I had these three elements bumping around in my head, and slowly, little by little, they started to connect together. And I'm not going to say exactly how, you'll have to read the comics to find out. But those elements are all supporting pillars for the storyline that we have in Here Be Dragons. I can give you a little praise, well, not so much a précis, more a kind of teaser here. Here's the original notes that I put together for just to tease people about it. Some say that a dangerous monster is at large over London. Some say that Electric Ladyland wasn't the only thing Hendrix released into the wild back in 1968. Some say the Fae are hunting prey in the shadows. And some say only fools and bold young coppers venture where the map warns, here be dragons.
Nice one. So of the various regular Rivers characters, who are the ones you most wanted to write for?
Oh, definitely Peter, because I feel like I think he and I both being sort of London lads born and bred, I think that there's a lot of his experiences that feel similar to sort of mine growing up as a sort of latchkey kid and an urbanite. So he was the character I really sort of wanted to get my hands around. And I found it's been an interesting challenge for me because I found I'm second guessing myself a lot, mostly because I don't want to mess it up, because this is my friend's Ben's creation here and I want to do a good job and I don't want to embarrass myself. But I've also really enjoyed kind of, finding the sort of rhythm and meter of his dialogue.
Yeah, he phoned me up and he said, I don't know how to write Peter. I said, he's a North London geek. You can write a North London geek, can't you?
I thought, wait a minute, I'm a North London geek. I could answer that.
So, you know, I had total faith. It's like everything. You start kind of second guessing yourself, and then you just kind of relax into the process, and then you start to kind of pick up confidence.
Plus, you could just read bits of the books and kind of get the music of the dialogue in your head.
Yeah, and you know, or listen to them. You know, either way, it just kind of like you just start to get the dialogue, and then there's always me. I'm going to be reading it for, but I have confidence that I will not have to do tremendous amounts of work on this, which is, of course, the whole plan.
Clever.
Good luck, big guy.
Yes, so it's going to be called Here Be Dragons, and that's a tiny weeny clue in the title.
Here be dragons, or I get my money back.
Yes.
Well, there will be, don't you worry.
Yeah. So
And helicopters. Here be dragons and helicopters.
And a little bit of Jimi Hendrix too.
Well, I'll sign up for that. Where's the graphic novel? Where's the limited edition hardcover?
Yeah, I want the
Yeah, I should probably get it written, have it finished.
Yes, good. Yes, would you please write it now, because I want to read
Absolutely.
it.